It is time to take charge. And so, our dear Lightworkers, star seeds, as you awaken to the magical truth of who and what you really are, it is time for you to take charge. As the Bible says, the meek shall inherit the earth. And the miracle of it is that you are the meek ones who shall inherit the earth and recreate it, reform it in the loving, just, and divine image you now have in your mind. My goodness, but you have been on a long journey. From the day that you volunteered to come here, you have had an adventure indeed, and you have been the hero of that adventure. Before you ventured to come here, you were the highest of the high in the heavenly realm. Bearing in mind that all the drops of water in the ocean of God consciousness are equal, they each and all have the potential to grow and expand exponentially. In the seed of the acorn is the potential of a mighty oak. In each aspect of God, in each cell in the body of God, is all of the potential of God. For oneness, true communion, means that all knowledge is available to each and every aspect of God. We have often said, God is creating gods like unto himself. And you were and are a powerful soul, a powerful cell in the body of God, for you had activated your potential and individuated your spiritual personality to a high degree. As such, you were a chosen one, chosen to come to earth and help mankind ascend out of his deep dream spell, out of his dark entrainment into fear. For mankind was lost in the ever-repeating cycle of reincarnation. He was in what seemed to be perpetual turmoil on the wheel of karma. With all the repetitive and repeated limitations and emotions that created the earthly narrative, man was beaten down, subjugated, subservient, helpless. How to help? Universal law forbade interference from outside the earthly plane. The only way to help was to send the highest vibrating, the most loving, the wisest and discerning heavenly angels to earth to be born as human beings. And so, with their sagacity and insight, with their clarity of mind, they could lead the way in the ascension process. And now that you had volunteered to help, the first order of the day was to plan your earthly life. For you did not come to earth to experience random events. You had a very specific agenda. You knew you were different. You saw that humans were hard to understand, impossible to comprehend. And it was particularly important that you understand them, for how else could you truly help? A detailed plan of the events that you would encounter was put together by you and your guides. This plan was challenging and difficult, for you put in place situations and events that would test you, experiences that would take you deeply and darkly into an understanding of the human psyche, situations that would reveal to you the workings of the human mind. You needed to understand how humans think, how they are programmed, how their words create their reality, how they react to each other and interact with each other. Only by conflict and oppositional attitudes could you gain a deep and intimate understanding of your human brethren. Understand, you are in a human biological computer. But though the design of your body is basically the same as that of your human brethren, you are different. You are of a higher frequency. You see things more clearly. You experience life with your eyes open. You see beyond the apparent, behind the surface, to the truth, the actuality, the real meaning of words and the truth behind events. And so, with plan in place, and all the characters in your earthly drama correctly situated, you dove into your new adventure. You were born on planet Earth as a human, into a human family, and you were entrained, indoctrinated, and taught the cultural mores of your family and your country, just as humans were. You became one of them. And yet you did not fit in. From the earliest moment you felt alienated. You could not understand why your brethren, your so-called friends, your parents, your teachers, and all around you were so unkind. Why did each and all around you say such cruel words to each other? Why did they challenge each other? There was no encouragement, no enthusiasm. From the start you questioned. You questioned authority. You questioned instructions. You saw a better way to do most things. You were puzzled. You did not belong. You were different. You were meek and kind and put down and castigated. And yet the most important thing was that you were fulfilling your destiny. For with all of the turmoil and chaos, clashings of mindsets, differing understandings, repeated experiences, you saw how humans thought and behaved. You listened to the dissonance between their words and deeds. You heard how they talked to each other contemptuously. You saw how they were programmed. For if we think of God as a supercomputer with an infinite number of programs running concurrently, then we humans are laptops. We are extensions of that supercomputer, and we are dependent on the strength of the cable that connects us to central control. Your connection to God, to the supercomputer, is stronger than that of your human brethren, for you are at a higher frequency. Even born on this earth, in human bodies, you are a guru. You exemplify the Christ consciousness, the consciousness in the human being that is the awareness of God, the awareness of yourself as an aspect of God. And so, you lived your human life. You suffered great pain, great puzzlement, and great fear. And in so doing, you came to understand the human condition intimately. You saw in your world, in your interplay with your brethren, what needed to be changed, how the human world could be made loving and kind. You saw what kind of behavior would bring loving communion and true camaraderie to the human realm. And then came the magical days of your awakening. The dark night of the soul was upon you. The dark night where all the dysfunctions, all the false concepts you had been taught were brought to the light. Again, it was a challenge to realize that all you had been taught was upside down. What had been made out to be good was evil. What had been made out to be evil was good. Truth, love, light had been inverted in the human realm. And as you awoke from your deception perception, from the illusional delusion that is the human condition, you came to a new knowing of yourself and of the human realm. Slowly, your divinity dawned upon you. Slowly you realized you were different. You saw that you had a congregation, those around you, that you, from your higher vantage point, from the upper room of spiritual understanding, could help. And by this time, the truth of the whole human picture had dawned upon you. You saw the workings of the shadow government. You saw how humanity had been perverted by the devious working of the deep state, by the tentacles of the powers that be. And now, dear ones, on this day in April 2021, this is where we stand. The old system is crumbling. There is no concern as to whether Earth will be freed from her chains, for you and your fellow starseeds have planned the event. Before you came to Earth, you set the events in place that would make ascension inevitable. You know how everything will turn out. You know deep within your hearts that all is well. Now is the time for your knowing. Now no longer listen to the third-dimensional teachings of the deep state tentacles. You no longer hear the narrative of the controllers. Now it is time for you to go within and listen to the peaceful, joy-filled teachings of your divine self, of your soul ensconced within your human heart. You know what needs to be done. You know happy synchronicities are in place to bring to you the situations and people you are to help. It is time for you now to formulate a clearer picture of how to help. What is your highest excitement? How do you enjoy spending each moment of each day? How do you see your new world? What do you want to change in the old world? How can it be changed? What kind words and phrases will work best to help your human brethren? And so, dear hearts, dear souls, the best is yet to come. It's time to step into the authentic you. It's time to become the leader you were meant to be. It's time to love unconditionally, for you know the world has been misled and each individual is a holy aspect of God. For you have lived your human life and you are returning the world to love. Your future is assured as you picture your new world, as you design it in your mind, so it will be. And so, the best is yet to come, dear friends. Yes, the best is yet to come. That was Aita, channeling her higher self. We are blessed beings, indeed.